Three stories. One involves a CEO literally asking ChatGPT how to avoid paying his developers $250 million and got quietly scrubbed from their own game Steam page. One involves Sony canceling a nearly finished PC port overnight, and a £656 million lawsuit against Steam that most people either missed or brushed off. Let's dive right in.
So, Subnautica 2. And to understand why Krafton did what they did, you need to understand the deal structure. Because once you see it, everything makes sense. Unknown Worlds got acquired by Krafton in 2021 for $500 million. Built into that deal was an earn-out bonus tied to Subnautica 2's early access sales. Sounds normal. Here's where it gets interesting. Up to 2.3 million copies, Krafton keeps roughly $21 per copy. Standard stuff, nothing weird. Past 2.3 million copies, it flips completely. For every dollar Krafton makes, they owe Unknown Worlds $3.12. They are now losing money on every single copy sold. By 5 million copies, they are $145 million in the red.
And it gets worse. That deficit doesn't start recovering until 11.9 million copies. For context, the original Subnautica took 8 years to reach 13 million. Below Zero peaked at 5.3 million total, ever. So if Subnautica 2 sells anything like their previous games, Krafton is staring at a $145 million loss for a long, long time. The CEO of Krafton got desperate. He asked ChatGPT for help. You see, on May 2025, Krafton runs their projections. Numbers come back looking expensive. Game is ready, team wants to ship, and Krafton is doing the math on how bad this gets. So they set up a secret internal task force, called it Project X, with one job: either renegotiate the earnout or find a reason to fire the studio leadership before the game launches. And the CEO asked ChatGPT how to do it multiple times. Even ChatGPT said it would be difficult, but he did it anyway. July 2025, Krafton fires the three founders, claims the game wasn't ready. During the trial, their own CFO couldn't name a single employee who believed that. Not one. Delaware court ruled in March 2026 the firings were illegal. Founders reinstated, earnout window extended. Then, 2 weeks ago, Krafton quietly disappeared from the Subnautica 2 Steam page entirely. No announcement, just gone. Unknown Worlds now listed as both developer and publisher. And here's the thing about buying the game. Every $30 copy sold during the earnout window costs Krafton roughly $72 after fees and the payout to Unknown Worlds. Your $30 comes directly out of Krafton's pocket and goes to the developers. That's not just supporting a good studio, that's the most direct form of voting with your wallet I've seen in a long time. Alright, let's talk about Ghost of Yotei. When this launched on PS5 last October, people loved it. It sold well, reviewed well, and pretty much everyone just assumed it would eventually land on PC. Because why wouldn't it? Ghost of Tsushima did. That game became a massive hit on Steam. The pattern was there. Nobody was worried. It was just assumed to be a matter of when, not if. Except it turns out Sony wasn't just planning a port, they were already building one. Bloomberg's Jason Schreier broke the story back in March, backed up by 4 separate insiders speaking to leaker Detective Seeds. The port was, in their words, extremely far along. Target release window of 2026, nearly finished, partly motivated by wanting to drive players into Ghost of Yotei's Legends multiplayer mode. But Sony killed it anyway, scrapped it entirely, along with the PC version of Seros, which just launched recently to rave reviews by the way, 96% critic recommendation on OpenCritic, and reportedly PC version of Gran Turismo 2, all of them staying PS5 exclusive, no exceptions. The reason is that Sony has done a full reversal on its PC strategy. 6 years of gradually bringing PlayStation exclusives to Steam, Spider-Man, God of War, Returnal, Horizon, and now they're pulling back. Hard. Single-player games made internally at PlayStation Studios are staying on PS5, full stop. The reasoning, pieced together from various sources, PC ports weren't hitting the numbers they hoped for, and there's apparently real concern inside Sony that putting their best games on PC weakens the case for owning the console, which, honestly, the data backs that up a little. Analytics firm Newzoo found that PlayStation games ported to PC 1 to 3 years after release, which is Sony's whole model, only pulled about 13% of PC players in the first few months. By then, the hype is long dead. Half the people who wanted to play it already watched someone else do it.
So from a pure numbers angle, I kinda get it. But here's what actually stings. The Ghost of Yotei port was essentially done. 4 separate industry sources expected it to ship regardless of the strategy shift. Real people spent real time building that thing. And Sony looked at a nearly finished product and said, bin it. Not because it was broken, because the strategy changed. That's cold. That's genuinely cold. And look, it's not a total blackout. Third-party stuff Sony publishes like Death Stranding 2, Kena, Scars of Cosmora are still coming to PC. Live service games like Marathon and Marvel Tokon still multi-platform. But Sony's big single-player exclusives, Spider-Man, God of War, whatever comes next, PlayStation only. Sad time to be a PC-only gamer.
Alright, let's step back for a second. A publisher sabotaging its own studio to dodge a payout? Sony abandoning PC ports mid-development? And sitting underneath all of it, a £656 million lawsuit against Valve that a UK court cleared for trial back in January, accusing Steam of basically running a monopoly. Digital rights campaigner Vicky Shotbolt filed a claim on behalf of 14 million UK Steam users. So here's what the lawsuit actually says. Steam takes 30% of every game sale. Fine, but on top of that, Valve allegedly tells developers, quietly through account managers, not in writing, that if your game is cheaper anywhere else, you're getting delisted. So developers price everything to cover Steam's cut and can't lower it elsewhere. The UK campaigner says that's illegal. The damages estimate? £656 million. UK tribunal greenlit the case in January 2026. Valve tried to get it thrown out, but the court disagrees. Now, look, a lot of people think this lawsuit is kinda silly. Honestly, I get that. Steam sales are legendary. The 30% commission isn't unique. PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo all charge the same. Epic does 12%, sure, but I don't see anyone choosing the Epic Game Store out of love. The argument that Steam is hurting consumers when most PC gamers think it's the best deal in gaming is a tough sell. To make matters worse, Valve is currently being sued on basically every front imaginable. Pricing practices, loot boxes, music licensing, multiple countries, multiple cases, all active at the same time. It's genuinely unprecedented for a company that for years just quietly ran the biggest storefront in PC gaming without much pushback. Honestly, the thing that gets me about all 3 of these stories is that none of it was accidental. Sony didn't cancel a finished port by accident. Krafton didn't fire their entire studio leadership by accident. These were calculated decisions made by people who looked at a spreadsheet and decided it was worth it. And the frustrating part is, they're probably right. Because most people move on, the discourse dies, and the next game comes out, and everyone forgets. What do you think happens next with Krafton? Do they fully walk away? Does Unknown Worlds get their independence back for real? Because I genuinely don't know, and I'd love to hear what you think. Drop it below. I read them. If you're curious about what happened to Xbox recently, click on this video here.